So Scotland's Andy Robertson was asked about what kind of celebration would happen if Scotland were to beat Brazil. Here's what he had to say.
Come tomorrow night, if we manage to beat Brazil, like I'm using your words now, if we manage to beat Brazil, then I'm sure maybe a couple of beers will be drank by the Tartan Army. That's for sure. But that's what we hope, because we want to give them something to shout about. We want to give them something happy about, and obviously, also if we win the game, then we've created history, and I think the whole of the Tartan Army want that.
I love how he said if they beat Brazil, a couple beers will be drank, as if they're not drinking beers just to kick off the day. If Scotland is to beat Brazil, I think Miami's going to need to start importing beer from other places because they're going to need to celebrate that much.
And a lot of sunscreen, I think, for the Scottish.
A lot of sunscreen. A lot of sunscreen. But how incredible would it be, Tony, if Scotland were able to beat Brazil? I mean, do you give them a good chance of maybe being able to do that?
I mean, it's always possible, right? I thought against Morocco, after going down early, that looked like a game that was going to run away from Scotland. Watching that first 15, 20 minutes, you're like, oh, man, they're under it right now. But then they grew into the game. They had the McGinn chance, right, at the end of the first half, and they kind of grew in confidence from there. I know we'll get to Brazil here in a second, but I don't think this has been a Brazil team that's been firing on all cylinders, right? So you talk about pressure. I don't know that Scotland is under the same pressure as Brazil is in this World Cup, right? So do you use that to your advantage? They've been impressive with regards to a team that's never gotten out of the group stage, right, and has an opportunity against Brazil. I wonder, will they drink more beer if they win
or if they
lose, right, in the end? But yeah, do you give them a chance? No doubt about it. It's not going to be easy. It's still a talented Brazil side who I just don't think have been clicking on all cylinders. But like we were just talking about, right, with like a Senegal, these teams, they grow into tournaments, right? And Carlo Ancelotti talked about this in the first game against Morocco. He said, this is sort of how tournaments go. You start off a little bit slower and you grow into the tournament. But yeah, Scotland's got a great opportunity.
Yeah. Well, between the two of you, you guys have connections. Do any one of you guys have a connection to a private jet so all of us could go down there to watch the game today? Because I want to be down there for this game.
Yeah.
Oh, so many good storylines. One of them, mine, will be how much beer will be drank, whether win or lose, out there in Miami. But, Jimmy, what storyline are you looking at in this game?
I'm going to quote the great Wayne Gretzky, which was also quoted by the great Michael Scott in the show The Office. You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. And Scotland didn't get any shots on goal against Morocco. They had a couple opportunities, and I agree with Tones. They really picked up their level in the second half, and John McGinn most likely should have gotten a penalty. But to Cello's point, they're letting the physicality emerge more consistently in this tournament. So no shots on goal, and as much as I appreciated the level that they reached and fought back in that second half against Morocco, which I think there is a chance they can get something from this good but not great Brazil team. A Brazil team that is still trying to find their identity in their best 11. So if they can sneak something early and not give up a cheap goal in the first minute like they did against Morocco, I think they could be in the conversation for sure. But they have to make Brazil suffer in some ways. They have to ask them a few questions. I thought Morocco did a really nice job when they played Brazil of kind of getting a center back or someone to step into midfield to create some space in behind, and then you can hit them from behind. I don't know if Scotland necessarily have the same type of dynamic players in that front line like Brazil does, but I think that Scotland does have a chance, albeit it feels kind of small at the moment because Brazil, I think, is going to continue to grow into this tournament. But if they can score early and start to make the Brazilians question themselves, then maybe they can get the Brazilians in a space where they can take advantage of that. And the longer they can make the game 0-0, the better. Because if they get a draw, they're going to qualify for the knockout rounds. They might even still qualify on 3 points right now that they have, but they can't lose by a big margin. So it's an interesting game for Steve Clark and his men. But it should be a great one, and I'm curious to see how, or if they're going to wilt in the Miami Heat against a Brazilian team and those players that obviously grew up in that type of environment.
Yeah, so you have Scotland wanting Brazil to ask lots of questions of themselves, and Tony, you have just one huge question for Brazil.
Yeah, it's style of play, right? Because when I watch Brazil right now, we've seen them for 2 match days. I don't really understand who they are. I said after match day 1 against Morocco, the 1-1, I felt like this was very similar to Carlo Ancelotti's last Real Madrid team, where it was about moments, right? Vinny Jr., who had a moment against Morocco, right, with a great goal. They don't seem to have any rhythm. They found a little bit more rhythm in match day 2 He takes out Igor Tudor and puts in Cunha, who gets 2 goals, right? There was a little bit more fluid movement. But then you lose Rodrigo, right? And who knows what happened, how long he's out for. Ryan seems to be the guy that is going to replace him. But I still just haven't seen complete rhythm from this side. And when we see the yellow jersey, when we think about Brazil, we think I'm past sort of Jogo Bonito, if you will, as we saw it in the 70s and 80s and maybe even a little bit in the 90s. A little bit more, a little change in philosophy for Brazilian football. It's a little bit more European because of where all the players play. But I still don't, I didn't see spells where Brazil was always, I mean, we've all played against Brazil, right? And you always felt like you were suffocating all the time, that it was just one wave after another. And there were moments where like 10, 15 minutes, you just had to weather the storm. I haven't seen that yet in 2 match days from Brazil.
Thanks for watching this video from Morning Footy. For all news and insights regarding leagues around the world like EFL, Serie, and all UEFA competitions, both men's and women's, don't forget to sign up for Paramount+.